Greetings and salutations, welcome to another FM17 team guide. Today we are looking at Bournemouth, so we're going to go through the philosophies, the boardroom, what the board expect you to achieve this season, how much money they've got, their wages. We're going to have a quick look at the staff, where you need to improve. Also, we're going to have a quick look at the team report. We're going to have a look at their youth talent, see if they've got any superstars in the making, their under-18s and their under-23s. And then we're going to quickly go through the squad, have a look at where their strengths and weaknesses lie, see where you'd spend that money you've got, and see if you can sort of have a good career at Bournemouth. So let's get straight into it. Philosophies is the first thing you're going to encounter when you start the new game. And Bournemouth expect you to play possession football. This is quite a tricky one to play when you're an underdog team. You're a smaller team in the Premiership, but we'll keep that in mind when we're looking at the team. Next up is the boardroom. So we want to look at the competitions. We're going to go and have a look, see what they expect us to achieve this season. Avoid relegation. Perfect. If they said mid-table, that's going to start getting tricky. Avoid relegation, that's definitely doable. They had a decent season last season. We've got a couple of really good players. I think we can do it. English FA Cup, 5th round, and the League Cup, 4th round. I think that's all reasonable expectations. Very, very happy with that. So let's how much money we got to spend. That's the big question. This is the problem. Bournemouth is a very small club, small ground, and they've got £3.6 million to spend, and they have 85 grand in wages, so that's not too bad. Maybe a loan option is quite a good idea for them. So we're going to have a very quick look at the staff just to see where we need improvement. So fitness and mental are the areas of improvement, but we've got space for some decent staff. Scouting needs an overhaul. We're like one above the worst in the league. We've got plenty. We can hire another 8 or so scouts, some data analysts maybe, a director of football, all that sort of stuff. That definitely needs fixing. And you also need a couple of decent physios. But not too bad. There's worse teams in the league. So let's have a quick look at the team report. We'll have a look at the main strengths. So we could do with better than Simon Francis amongst those able to play as central defender. So that's maybe a weak point we'll look at. I won't read all these out. You can pause it if you want to sort of have a better look. Next up, we're going to see if we've got any superstar talents. Do we have the next? I don't know. Michael Owen popped into my head, so we'll go with Michael Owen in our youth team. Doesn't look like it, but we'll have a look at the best of the bunch. So Callum Stanton is our under-18 goalkeeper. He's 18 years old, and yeah, not great. Okay, so any better in the under-23s? So here's our under-23s. Quite a big squad. Could do with some cutting down maybe. I do like to operate with a smaller under-23 squad. First off, we've got Emerson Hymen, new signing for Bournemouth, bought from Fulham for 5 odd million, was it, or something? I'm not even sure. 20 years old. I'd put him in the first team. Simple as that. In fact, we're going to, and then we'll talk about him afterwards. Next up is Lys Mousset, big signing for Bournemouth in the summer, 6.5 million. He's not that good in the game. He's not going to get in your squad this season. Just send him out on loan, and then hopefully get some game time and improves. Next up is Brad Smith, bought from Liverpool. Again, I think I'll put him in our senior squad for now, and we'll go through it there. Other than that, most of it's pretty turd, to be honest. Now, let's look at the squad as a whole. Bearing in mind, we've only got £3.6 million to spend, so we're going to quickly go through the team. We've got Otter and Adam Federici as our goalkeepers. They're both similar skill level. Otter is the number 1 in real life, and I'd probably just about give him the edge. He is 36 now, and the backup's 31. So longer term, I'd think about replacing these guys. But due to our financial restrictions, Boric is probably fine for a season, I would say. Let's look at our right-back options now. So, right-back options, we've got Adam Smith. We've got 2. So we've got Brad and an Adam, so that's quite confusing. Really solid full-back in real life, and he's decent here as well. Decent going forward. Just a decent all-round player without being exceptional in any areas. Then we've got Mark Wilson, who's injured at the start of the game for a few months, but he is Mr. Versatility. He's 2-footed, which is really rare, especially for a defender. Fantastic. I'd train him so he could become, a comfortable right back as well. He's decent going forward. He's a decent all-rounder. He can play in defensive midfield. He can fill in at centre-back if you want. Just a really good player to have in the squad. Then we've got Simon Francis, who used to be a full-on right back. His main role was right back, and he's still very good at it. Look, 15 crossing. But now Bournemouth use him as a more of a centre-back option, and I think that's probably where he's best. He's one of the best players at the club. 31 now, but you'll get a couple of good years out of him. His physicals are still really good. Superb player. Equally adept at playing on the right-hand side or in the central midfield. Next up, we've got the captain, Steve Cook. I think he's still the captain, isn't he? He's a central defensive option, 25 years old, so he's still got a little bit of room to improve. Solid. His tackling is decent. His heading's not so much. Decent amount of pace for a centre-back. Solid physicals, but fine. It's kind of one of those fine for the first season, but maybe you look to start improving over the course of the season. Next up, we've got Nathan Ake, on loan from Chelsea. I was going to say Watford. They went to Watford last season. On loan from Chelsea. It says he can play centre-back, but the jumping reach is a real issue for me here. The jumping reach is a very important stat for a central defender. Not very good. Work on it if you want him to play a centre-back, or if you want to play him full-back, then he's got some decent stats. He's okay going forward, not exceptional. Just a sort of decent squad rotation, backup player, cup games, that sort of things. Next up, we've got the main man himself, Charlie Daniels. He's a very solid left-back, really good option, 29 years old. We've got a few oldies in this team, so we need to bear that in mind when we talk about transfers. But he's going to be fine. For a season or two, he's going to be a very good left-back. He's going to get you some decent assists. Then we've got Brad Smith, who is another decent left-back. He's the one from Liverpool. How much do they pay? £6. Way overpaid for him. He's more of a pace. He's like a mini Bellerin. He's okay. He's decent going forward, decent crossing. I think he's a good backup. I don't think he's going to go ahead of Charlie Daniels, but he's a solid backup. So the left backs, I'm happy with. The right backs, not so much. The centre backs, I think the main problem with the centre backs is we don't have enough. We need a centre back, so that's our first. In fact, I'm even going to write it down so I don't forget when we talk about transfers. Centre back. But okay, other than that. So next up, we're going to go into the midfield. We're going to look at Andrew Sermon. Just a solid, all-round, decent player. Again, 29 years old. We've got some oldies in here. The new signing, Lewis Cook, we bought from Leeds for £6 million, and he is a superb talent. This guy could get really good. Make sure you give him plenty of game time this season. Then we've got Harry Otter, who's been on fire recently. A really good, one of your first choices, one of the best players in your team. Keep him. He's really good playmaker option. Dan Gosling is his kind of understudy, just a lesser option, 26 years old. And we've got Emerson Hymen, who we talked about before briefly. Just a very good talent, much better going forward. He's not much of a defender at all, so I'd maybe tempted to train him as an attacking midfielder just because his defensive stats are useless. But he should get some game time this season, definitely. And then we've got Jackie Wilshere on loan. If you can keep him fit, play him. He's obviously the best, pretty much the best player at your club. Let's just hope he can keep fit. So we've got pretty good options. Central midfield, we've got basically 6 decent players. Nobody needs to be replaced there. A couple of good youngsters, nice age range. Let's talk about wingers. So first off, we've got Jordan Ibe from Liverpool. He's going to be a first choice right back. Bags of potential, decent pace. We all kind of know about him. Can play on the left as well. Very, very good. Let's hope he provides some end product. Next up, we've got the pace master himself, Maxi Gradel. Can play on both sides. Really good player. £15 million. It's possibly one you could cash in on if you needed the money for some exceptional talent or something. But 19 determination, really good pace, decent, okay-ish technicals. He's definitely in your first team. So Jordan Ibe and Maxi Gradel kind of pick themselves. And then you've got your backups. So you've got 3 choices, 3 flavours for backups. And that's Mark Pugh, been at the club for a good few years now. Just a decent all-rounder, 29 years old. Good backup, I'd say. And then you've got Junior Stanislas, pretty much the same thing. I'd say slightly better. He's a little bit younger as well, but another backup. And then we've got Ryan Fraser, who starts off the game loan listed, but you can keep him if you want. If you're going to sell one of the other two to get some money, Pugh or Stanislas, then I'd keep him. Otherwise, I would loan him out for the season. Then you've got Josh King. He's an interesting one, Josh King. He plays as a striker. Amazing physicals. The rest is pretty shite. Needs a lot of work if he's going to become a decent player. I'm not sure if he can get there. He's 24 years old. He's just too old. If he was like 21, you could mould him into something. But 24, yeah, no, I'm not fancying it. But he's worth £10 million. It's somebody I'd look to either cash in on or use him as a backup option. Then you've got Kanekalon, who's a really decent player, worth £12 million, 23 years old, solid player, plays a complete forward, pretty versatile. Then you've got Graben, who's our third option, decent pacey striker. If you need money, I'd probably cash in on him. They bought him for £7 million. It's ridiculous. He's worth £5 million. If you need the money, I'd bring him in. I'd probably play one up top in this formation. And then you've got the big man himself. Kanekalon Wilson is a sensational player. You've got one big choice with Kanekalon Wilson. Either you develop him yourself and he gets better, he's really pacey, he's a good finisher, or you sell him for a shit ton. And I mean, 30 plus million you can get for him. Me personally, I stick with him. He's been really good for Bournemouth since coming in. Obviously, the big injury was the problem last season, but he was doing great. So there's our team. Let's talk about how we'd improve this thing then. So bearing in mind we haven't got much money, so I'm not going to go crazy with the ideas. I'll just sort of suggest a couple, and that's right back for me is an issue, and centre back. I think to sort the defence out first. You've got decent central midfielders, you've got two really good wingers with a couple of good backups, and you've got two decent strikers. So my money, either a purchase and maybe then get a loanee to cover the other, is a centre-back. You desperately need a centre-back. That has to be your first choice. You don't have the squad depth to do anything else. And then after that, if you've still got some money left over or you want to get a loanee in, I'd go for a right-back option. With the players I'd sell... not many. You've got a decent sized squad. Maybe if you're going to play one up top, I'd probably sell Graben. And also left, I didn't talk about Tyrone Mings, did I? I don't think. Just coming back from a long-term injury. A decent left-back option, valued at £5 million. So you can sell one of these. You can't sell Brad Smith because he's just joined. I might be tempted to sell Tyrone Mings. He's decent. No, he's 23. That's one of the big decisions, I think. You don't need these three left-backs. You can't sell Brad Smith, so I would sell one of Charlie Daniels and Tyrone Mings just to bring in that extra money to allow you to get a good centre-back. There you go, guys. Like I said, I won't go through too much in the way of tactics. I think I'd play one up top. You could play two with Kanekalon and Kanekalon Wilson because Kanekalon is a little bit more of a target man. Wilson is all about pace. But I would probably use the pace and skill of the likes of who's in my flip, Jordan Ibe, Maxi Gradle as your attacking wingers or inside forwards, and have Kanekalon Wilson as your main man with Kanekalon just to offer you something different. So, how much fun are they going to play, and how difficult a challenge is this? I think this is a relatively easy challenge. I think they've got a decent team, needs a little bit of depth, but overall, I think they're doing all right. They only expect you to survive relegation, so I think that's definitely doable. With the likes of Burnley and Hull in the league, you're better than those teams quite considerably, and I think it'll be fine. I think you'll do really well. I think you'll survive the first season, and because Bournemouth's operating on such a low budget, that TV revenue next season, in the seasons to come, is going to really inflate the team. You're going to get a lot more money to spend. You're going to start expanding the stadium. You could really build an empire at this Bournemouth team. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. In fact, I'm probably going to have it as a personal save, I think. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave a like. Let me know what you think of the Bournemouth team in the comments. Is there any particular players that you'd sign in with that 3.6? Is there any good loanees you could buy in? That could be quite an important thing for Bournemouth this season, to get a decent defensive loan signing. And also, are any of the players underrated or overrated, or have you bought them, like Kanekalon Wilson? I tried to buy him for my Liverpool save, but they wanted like 50 million. I was like, I can't do that. I can't. So let me know, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you're new to the place, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.